If you're familiar with Dream Prague, you know I usually talk about the quirkiness of my adopted homeland of Czech Republic. But last month, Hansa and I made a quick trip to Colorado. Not our state of origin, but definitely one of the most beautiful states in the good old US of A. After almost 15 years of living abroad, we always get a good dose of reverse culture shock whenever we return to the US. So today, we decided to open a bottle of delicious Czech beer and have a chat about weird and wonderful America. Nice and hazy, cheers.
Na zdraví.
Na zdraví.
It's
Oh,
good.
it's good. It's like orangey, like a lot of citrus.
Crisp.
It's crisp. I'm really liking these hazies. There were some good hazy IPAs in Colorado, where we just returned from. This, if you can believe it, is a typical Colorado liquor store. And this fridge over here is filled with dozens, if not hundreds, of types of microbrews. Everyone always asks, like, do you have a culture shock when you return?
I did have a culture shock. Yeah, it was a whirlwind, like 3 days. The first night we stayed in Breckenridge, right? The sports bar.
Let's talk about the sports bar. Now that is a real like American institution. I don't think of many like sports bars in Prague.
I can't think of any real sports bars. But Grovy Sadi will set up the screens during big hockey tournaments, or it has the screen that they project. I know they're doing the Rugby World Cup, but nothing like, it was a Thursday night, maybe it was a Friday night, and they were doing college football. And
There was more than college football. There was like baseball.
Oh, that's right. Baseball playoffs were on, and then they were playing music very loudly, and so the music video was on one of the screens, so you couldn't hear really any of the games. And then there was the bingo guy.
Bingo is a fairly basic game, so you don't really need to be paying much attention. But I was just kind of inundated with like the lights and the many different games on one wall, and then bingo was happening and the guys on the mic.
G49, N33.
And the waitress is like yelling at you, "Can I get you another slice?" And
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Dark, red lighting, everyone's screaming.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing.
It was
So-
good. It was very much like, we're back in America now. So there's games on the television, but then there were like a couple screens that were running commercials, obviously, and they were for like pharmaceuticals. Like, they're advertising drugs, and they're just like, these drugs have all these side effects, blah, 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 blah. And it's totally normal. Like, it's not weird to have like pharmaceutical ads next to sports in a bar while you're eating. Like, it was weird. I just love that they sold you like massive slices of pizza. Like, you get a slice. And in Europe, you would never just like fold the slice and just like stuff it in your face. And if you ask them for a fork or knife at the American restaurant, they'd be like, "For what?" It's pizza.
It's a pizza
It's
taco.
pizza.
Pizza taco. You just taco.
It's a pizza taco. I forgot how normal it is to have like condiments and cheese and salt and pepper at the table. I feel like in Europe, the chef makes the food how they make the food and you eat the food. But in America, everyone's big on like modifying it to your exact liking. So it's really typical to have all these things at the table.
The spaces were so big out there, it seemed like everyone lived a mile from their neighbor. And that's 1.6 kilometers for the viewers at home. And they had to go to the store probably once a week, fill the truck
Right.
at the big box store.
Every other person literally has a pickup truck. So you're thinking like your job is to haul stuff around. But there's not often things in the pickup truck. They just own a pickup truck, right? So there's less seating than an actual car.
But I don't even know if there is less room because they make the cab bigger. So now the cab
That's true.
can fit 6 people.
That's true.
And you still have your pickup
You
truck.
get your whole family back there.
That's right.
But they would like soup them up. Do you know what I mean? So there'd be like bigger tires, add-ons, like all these like, what do they call that? Aftermarket, after factory add-ons?
Yeah, aftermarket. You would never drive one of these trucks in Europe.
No. First of all, you couldn't fit down some streets.
That's true, right?
But gas is cheaper there. It's a moral hazard. Gas is cheaper. So
Yeah.
people are like, well, I can get this giant Escalade because it doesn't cost that much to drive it.
And you feel like they can't even see you because
Yeah.
your head comes up to like the top of the hood.
Yeah.
Right? So,
When I was in high school, all the cool guys, they were like baseball players, and they all had lowered pickup trucks. So low that they'd almost be on the ground. But
yeah.
I feel like your guys were different. They had like raised pickup trucks.
why do you say my guys?
I don't know, you seem like
what?
a raised pickup truck guy. Like that's for someone who like takes it to the mountains. The guys who go on lowered pickup trucks are just like driving around the valley.
And that's me. I'm the guy that takes it to the mountains.
Now, just because we're jet setting around the globe doesn't mean that work stops. I know that's about the most American phrase I could possibly utter. In the past month, Hansa and I have traveled to Germany and France and the United States. And we've had to jump on countless public Wi-Fis. Of course, we always made sure to turn on NordVPN on all of our devices. And with one account, you can connect to up to 6 devices. Sometimes I need to access private information, like my bank accounts and all of my private passwords, and I don't want anybody accessing that information. The internet can be kind of a dangerous place, and just like I take precautions IRL to guard against, say, pickpockets, I use NordVPN to guard against hackers online. NordVPN is a simple tool that I use every time I log on to the internet. And it just runs in the background, and I don't even notice it. It's like an online safety bubble that protects my information from anybody trying to access it without my permission. And it's absolutely essential when you're out in the world on different public Wi-Fi networks. NordVPN wants to make the internet a safer place for you too. Right now, viewers of Dream Prague can go to the link in the description box below and sign up for a 2-year plan. You'll get a huge discount, plus 4 months extra. And best of all, it's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. You wouldn't leave your front door unlocked when you left your house, so why would you risk letting someone come into your online space? So check out NordVPN in the link in the description box below. When you do, you help me support this channel so I can keep making you more videos. So thank you.
Tips.
The tips.
Would you like to give 30%, 40%, or 50%?
No. What was the highest you saw? So explain what you're talking about.
So you get through the entire transaction, and then there's an extra screen on the monitor on the console.
Yeah. And they like flip it up to you.
Right.
It's like it's your move now, sir.
You're on the spot, right?
Right.
Right. And there's probably a little red light back there that's like, green if you give them the 30, or red, and just like how much of a jerk they can be to you.
Right. And if you give them like 35%, they all flash you or something. Like.
Right. And so, well, first I flubbed it at the pizza joint, right?
That was great. What did you do?
Oh man, I can't.
So the bill was $63.
$63 US, 15-inch pizza.
And I had a
plus
slice, one slice. And we had 4 beers maybe.
4 beers. We
Okay.
each had 2 beers, and that was $63 US. And so being completely acclimated to America.
Already, and we're up in the high altitude,
Right,
and I was
right.
like, I'm a little lightheaded at this point.
2 beers at 11,000 feet, and I'm wasted. And so I tell the waitress, round it up to 70, right? Which
Right, you thought you were just being so generous.
I was gonna skip do you want the 15, 20, or 25% thing? I'm like, I just round it up to 70, right? I'm just so generous.
And then I stopped and I told her, I'm like, we're from Europe. We forgot how dollars work.
Can you hear our accents?
Right. I did feel that way though. I felt like I'm in Europe. I don't know how you people do it here. I want to do it the American way, but it's been a while.
Yeah, but it wasn't $63. It was $63 and
Blah, 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 change.
27 cents.
Okay,
so I
yes.
say round it up to 70. And like this poor woman now has to bust out
You forced her to do math.
sixth grade math to figure out what 70 minus 63.27 is.
To write that number
To
in.
write that exact number
Wow.
in. And then
So not only did you shortchange her,
and then
you made her work for it.
realized it was about 10% probably. So it was a
Oh,
terrible
yeah.
terrible tip.
It was a terrible tip. They don't even put 10% on the monitors.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm an asshole. That's the button you
I'm
press.
I am not welcome back. I'm not buying that the servers in Colorado are not making good money. I think what happened is that they were previously making terrible money because it's an American service.
$3, $4
yes.
an hour.
And then they relied on the tips to go higher.
Yeah.
And then everyone realized that this is insanity and people should not be given a minimum wage of $3 or $4 an hour. And they're like, oh, let's make it $20 an hour. But then they're like, well, the tips are already on the thing, so let's just keep the tips on there. In fact, now that we're reevaluating, let's jack up the tips by the tip default by 20% or whatever.
Right.
And now everyone's making $20.
And I was a server in college, and that was the best job you could get in college because you didn't have any degrees or anything yet, but those tips were gonna get you.
And they're all cash.
They're all cash.
Little money launderers.
No, I had to tip out the busboys, but that was the best job you could get. So
Now, were you dutifully writing your receipts, filling it out on your taxes? Did you do your taxes when you were working?
there
at
were
the
a few
Daily
years I
Scoop?
didn't. It caught up to me. We don't need to go into it. Once I got back from Colorado, we went to Cafe Finn in Vinohrady for breakfast. And I had like the reverse thing happen where she said the number and then Dvade sat. And it's always like Dvad said, Dvade sat. This is like all Americans can't deal with like 90 or 20, 90 or 20. So I gladly tipped her 7 crowns on like a 6.92. And I was like, just round it up. So I would never give that kind of tip, but then it was too late. And then the girl who had been our waitress, she was like, I just wanted to tell you, my father and I really like your videos. And I was like, oh God, like here we have like facial recognition and shitty tipper.
Why don't you look into the camera right now and apologize?
No,
to
I
her?
did. No, here's what I did. I went out and I was like, John, give me 50 crown. And then I ran back in and I gave it to her and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, I forgot to tip you. And she was like, oh, and whatever. And she like put it in her coffee can. I was like,
You did
I
come
tipped.
out-
I did
come
tip.
out in a hurry, sweating a bit.
Yeah.
Good thing I had
Because
that
Americans
change
feel
first.
like we have to tip.
Yeah. Although,
Even in cultures that are just kind of like meh.
So I noticed you've been back to America. You brought back your hard J.
Jasper?
Yeah.
Jasper? Oh, yeah. I don't say I will never spell yoga with a Y again. Like there's just or yogurt. I would always spell it with a J from now on. There's just certain things that like make sense in Czech.
There's times I'm running work emails and I type yes with a
With a J. Yeah. So I don't know why, it just makes sense. So friendly people. So like the guy at the airport with the tacos, the Mexican place at the airport. He was so friendly and really attentive. Like, sure, it was fake, but he was very attentive and he was just checking on us, bringing us stuff. And I just thought, okay, this guy's working for his tips, you know?
Yeah.
But he was nice. I like it when people are kind of like, how's your day going? What are you up to this weekend? Like the guy in Trader Joe's is like, so what are you guys doing this weekend? And we were on the way to come home and he's like, we're going to Prague. And he was like, wow, that's so cool. We're like, we live there.
I mean, the REI woman, first thing she asked me is, can I get your phone number?
Ah, that was to get your code. Nice try. Was that when I was still in the back?
And I was like, it starts with a plus.
Right.
Can you do that?
818.
Can your system
213.
Can your system add a plus?
You know, everybody in American service, whether they're in a restaurant or in a store, whatever, they all have their names here. And the minute I touched down, I was like, thank you, Steven. Nice to see you too. And they're just like laughing at me. I think I did that to the rental-car guy. I was like, thanks, James. Have a nice day. You just kind of like step back into it, and it feels like a game, and it might get annoying after a while, but I really liked that.
Well, you know, they're back in the States right now. They're doing their podcast, and they're like, I just had the nicest customer.
From Prague.
She's like, they must be so nice over there. She's like, how's it going, Steven? What you up to this weekend?
I can hardly detect a Czech accent. What is it that you speak over there? Russian?
Okay, plus 420. Yeah, we can do that.
I'll figure out a way. I'm gonna call Marcy over at HR. But then we were over at Parliament the other night in Vinohrady to have dinner, which was delicious.
Yeah.
Really good vegetarian meal. Everything on the menu is like every animal you could possibly digest. And then there's like vegetarians get a potato, but it was delicious. And they had their name tags on.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of America, and I was thinking of like, I should just go for it. What's up, Wojtek? How you doing? And I was like, I couldn't bring myself to be like, Petrze,
Well,
where are you from? Like, you just don't. I don't know why the Czech people have name tags. No one's gonna use them.
I have to say that service staff at Parliament was really nice, though. I mean, multiple different people came and checked.
They
throughout the meal whether or not we had everything we got.
No, it was great staff. It was efficient. It wasn't like Americans, they want like a little relationship with you for like an hour. And the Czech service over there, which I would call very good service, was just efficient. Everybody's speaking English, so I'm all of a sudden hearing all these conversations I understand. And the first guy I heard was someone like, what are you doing out here? And the girl's like, oh, I'm starting college in Colorado. And he's like, oh, I'm here to recruit college kids to join my church.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, that is not something you're gonna hear in Czechia.
Yeah, no, you're in the Prague Metro. You hear a pin drop, and everyone looks up from their books.
Yeah, right. Right, and there's certainly not going to be like some dude like, I'm here for you.
Even the drunk guy's like quietly asleep in the end of the train, right? Like,
oh my gosh. I like Colorado. I think there's like a lot happening there. It's nature and it's beautiful and it's lovely.
yeah, it is lovely. It was a beautiful location. Congratulations, Matt and Liz.
And what do you feel about, what did you feel when you got back?
I was happy to be back. I was happy to stumble out to the 119 bus and just I knew where I was going, knew how to get there, but I mean, we slept for days.
Oh yeah, as we were getting off the plane, Czech girl, actually I don't know if she was Czech, but she went off and went to Zličín, so she's probably Czech. She gets off the bus and she's just like, you hit my leg or something. And I was like, you know, an American would have been like, my dear, I'm so sorry to tell you, would you mind, blah, blah, blah. But, and I was like, I felt like Samantha in Sex and the City when someone throws red paint on her fur coat in New York and she's like, I love New York. It's kind of how I felt. I was just like, yes, these are my people. So I'm happy to be back.
So am I. We drank all the beer, so
Oh, good. Well, we're done.
I think that means we're done.
Okay.
We're done. I'm out of here.
Cheers. Okay, good.
I gotta walk off set. That's how it ends.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.